Hi, everybody.
Hey, Thomas.
Had I known I was going to be out in the sun today, I would have worn black. Then I would really feel the heat, right? I know I got an email at some point that said this would be outside, and then I totally forgot. And no, that's the hat. Thank you very much. No, I don't mind the sun. I also appreciate that my motorcycle is over there because I feel like it's being blessed now, which is great. And I also want to just add, there's some things that just came up while I was there, and I know I'm here to do a talk, and I've got notes and stuff, but I prefer to just kind of go with what I'm feeling. This has been amazing so far. I love your structure. I am stealing from you. Just be clear that I will go home and steal gladly. I will give you credit, but I will be stealing from you. And if you don't know, I am, as of July 1st, I became the senior minister at Unity Vancouver Island. Yeah. So Reverend Vicky and Reverend Patricia now answer to me. Isn't that amazing? Once being mentored by them, great mentors, by the way. I couldn't be more blessed to have been where I landed to find Unity. I did not know Unity before I moved to Vancouver Island in 2015. I'd never heard of it. I went there because of my wife, not because I wanted to look for anything spiritual. And I went once, and I never stopped going. And 6 months later, I decided, I went to Reverend Patricia and said, I think I need to do what you're doing. Because what I saw in her was that I want that. I don't know what she has, but whatever it is, I want it for me. Because where my life was, I was not satisfied. Does anybody feel that way? They're not satisfied with their life at times? Yeah, suffering at times. You know, the Buddha says that is our journey. The journey is suffering. And so then how do we overcome that, right? How do we overcome the suffering to live the life we want to live, or the one that we feel, but sometimes we knock it down, right? It's like, oh, I want to do this, and then the calculating little brain comes in and goes, and then we come up with all these reasons why we can't do something, right? And we actually defeat ourselves before we even give those other people around us that are going to crush our soul. We've done it before we give them the chance to do it. And then we get mad at them for crushing our soul, but we've already done the job. And I actually wanted to start with something that I forgot to mention off the top. So just to be clear, the foundation from which I speak from. So is anybody familiar with Star Trek?
Yay!
Yes. The original Star
We
Trek?
have three!
And is anybody familiar with the band Rush?
Yes.
Right. So my entire foundation of living is based on those two things. So bring your expectations way down. Okay?
Or way up if you're a musician.
That's right. You know, I actually saw a video of somebody breaking down a Rush song for the first time that they'd ever listened to Rush, and they said at the end, I feel smarter somehow. And I agree with that. Anyhow, that's a side note. So in this world of overcoming suffering, we have all sorts of wisdom teachings. I happen to be a huge fan of Jesus, because I think of Jesus as this really cool dude. Not as the Son of God, and not as the God outside of us and all of that stuff, which we can kind of go down that path. And I was raised in a Catholic household, so I went to Sunday school. I did all of the confirmations as a Catholic boy. I was even an altar boy for a while. So I understand all that, and it's not wrong. It's just not where I am anymore. And it served me because I had friends that would often say to me, why do you go to church? That seems so stupid. So I always had this internal battle with what my parents were trying to teach me and wanting me to see for my life through their religious belief and the way they ran our household. I'm the youngest of 6 kids. I am named after Doubting Thomas, which my mother told me several times, and then she questioned me as to why do you always doubt? Maybe because, you know, might be a pattern there, I'm not sure. Anyhow, I always had these friends that were not religious, and so, I don't know, maybe you've experienced this. Do you have that battle within of what other people seem to think is the right thing, and then there's what you believe, and you're constantly in this question back and forth? And I love so much of what was already said today. I kind of felt like, I don't think I need to do a talk. The music was great. And do you have your lyrics for your second song, by the way? The second song you played.
I have lyrics for all of them.
Tina's book.
I can't remember what the second song was.
Something,
I don't think it is.
Yeah. It was the one you gave a little story to that you wrote, that you co-wrote.
Oh, I decide.
I decide.
I decide.
What's the first verse? Do you know?
Well, so after the chorus or the first verse?
The first verse. You can find it. I'll keep them entertained here while you dig that up.
It is. Yes, I'm the one with the power to choose every thought and every belief. Oh, I'm the one with the voice inside that has the power to set me free.
Like, what do I need to come up here for?
Yeah.
That was everything my talk was prepared for when I gave this talk title, I don't know, 2 months ago or whenever I was asked for it. That's it. Like, it's all here.
I read your title.
It's all here, right? So I was recently reading Charles Fillmore, Jesus Christ Heals. Has anybody read that? Okay, a few people. And I had to read a chapter for one of my ministerial classes, but I hadn't read the whole book. And so I was reading it recently. And what's interesting to me, and by no means am I comparing myself to Charles Fillmore, so let's be clear on that first and foremost. But maybe 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago at Unity, I was giving a talk, and I had come to the understanding within my life that, first of all, there's no word or idea of consciousness or definition that any of us can give that actually describes God. As soon as you start, you're already done.
Yeah.
Like, you're finished. There's no way to put it in a package. And so I had been wrestling with that idea for myself, and I finally came to the place where I just thought, you know what? God is life. That's it. There's this thing inside me. It is the essence of my being and my living, and if I can operate from that, that is the true essence of life, and God bless me for that. And then I read Jesus Christ Heals, and in chapter 2, Charles Fillmore gives this prolonged sort of what God is not. And then in one sentence, all by itself, on its own paragraph, he said, God is life. And I was like, yeah. But then, we always look for our own biases, don't we? Right? So I also understand that's my own bias. But if that is true, if I were to operate from that, and if we all were to think in terms of that, then everything that has been sung today, I am the thinker that thinks the thoughts, Anthony's song, the daily word, what Bob shared, the vibration out to the world, the healing, all of that comes from within us. So really, that's what it is. And that's what I think Jesus was saying when he said, it is the Father's great pleasure to give you the kingdom. He wasn't talking about some dude in the sky. He referred to the Father as within. That is the source of us. And if we can overcome all of the BS that we construct and that we allow others to construct within us, then we can get to that true source. That's what Eric Butterworth was saying. And I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Cecil. That was beautiful. I loved that. Thank you so much. I love this unity moment. That was fantastic. Like, most people, I'm going to go off track a little bit here, but I've kind of been going off track the whole time. I hear this a lot. What is unity? And it seems like what a great idea, Calgary. Let's have a unity moment. Let's start building the foundation in people's minds of how unity got to where we are right now. The fact that it was something that came together with no original intention to be what it is today. That was not the plan. There's no 20-step plan where we're going to do this, and by 1952 this will have happened, and the next 10 years will be this. It's just where we are. And I think what's maybe missing at times in unity is the understanding of where we came from and how we have a foundation, and sticking to that knitting, so to speak. There is the unfolding. Of course, we want to be creative because, if you think of Fillmore, he was already talking about atom smashing power, right? He was already in that consciousness, and I think where he would be today would be far, far beyond what I'm talking about, for sure. So So there is the ongoing evolution and the unfolding of, and at the same time is what brought that original thinking, right? Which is this idea that we are co-creators. There was something about the word, and I actually do want to share this from my notes, so here we go here. This is from Fillmore. The order of creation is from the formless to the formed, from the invisible to the visible, and this goes on perpetually. The law of mind action may be described in 3 steps: mind, idea, manifestation. First, there must be mind. Second, everything exists first as an idea in mind, like the chair you're sitting on, for example. Just didn't happen. Somebody thought about that. Can you imagine if they put chairs, what if our legs went the other way? Just a side note, think about that. How would a chair look if our knees bent the other way? So just go play with that this week. The inherent power and intelligence in the idea causes it to act or express, and when it is expressed, we have the manifestation. So there's the setup. Now here's the great part for me. We accomplish our great work of bringing things into manifestation by using the power of the word. Speak the word audibly or speak it silently as thought. You form your own world. You form your own world. That's it. That's all there is to remember. If you can do that every day in any experience you're having, whether it's a great experience or that suffering experience, understand it's coming from you. It's not coming from anywhere else. And so when Jesus says it's the Father's great pleasure to give you the kingdom, that is something we can actually access. And one of the things that fascinated me about unity is that when I heard the words that we see Jesus as the example, not the exception. That's why I ride a motorcycle now. I feel I just got to get like the long hair, riding with sandals on maybe. That would be cool, right? Dangerous, but man, what a dream. But that's what there is for us to recognize every day. And I can do this talk 1,000,000 times and still need the reminder for myself that I create my own experience through my thoughts and my words, either audibly or internally. That's the game. So I know I only got a couple of minutes left, but recently I had this story from somebody where their wife decided they wanted to move. And he was like, okay, let's move. So the next day they packed up and they moved. And they found this place where they were living. He had no job. And so he went to an application to get a job and had a great interview, but heard nothing back. And so on the way home, he saw this pile driver guy on the side of the road driving some piles into the dirt and thought, well, I know a little bit about pile driving. I'll just go get involved. So he had his tools with him and some coveralls and a hard hat and boots and threw it all on, hopped the fence, and just started helping out. And eventually this guy comes up behind him, big dude apparently, puts his hand on his shoulder and says, what are you doing? And he said, I'm cutting blah, 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 whatever pile driver conversation you would have around what he was doing. And the guy's like, oh, you seem to know something about this. He's like, yeah, I know something about this. And so he's getting ready to clean up. They've been working a long time. And he asks, where do you put your tools? He says, I put them in the work box over there. So he cleaned up for him, put all the tools away. And at the end, the guy said, well, are you coming back tomorrow? And he's like, sure, I could come back tomorrow. And he had a job when nobody else had a job because there was a strike in construction. But somehow he found a job. If you ever want that story in its true form, you can speak to Claude. He shared it with me this morning, which I thought was perfect timing for this conversation, that Claude he determined his own creation in life. He was decided, I am doing this. I will not be stopped by the circumstances around me. I will take that on and make it work for me. That's what's available to us. So as you're going along this week, I'll invite you to think of a few things. First of all, practice non-judgment. Not only of yourself, but of others, right? Practice non-judgment. Engage in open and vulnerable conversation. I would not have had that story from Claude if he'd not been willing to share his truth with me. It's huge when we do that. Cultivate gratitude for both positive and challenging life experiences. Has anybody had the same sort of circumstance happen over and over again? And you're like, why does this keep happening to me? There's something there that you quite maybe haven't grasped yet. So embrace it. Love it. Love the heck out of it. You may as well. It's going to happen anyhow. Regularly participate in practices like meditation and prayer. I'm a huge advocate for this. Encourage each other to be present and mindful in daily activities. You know, that's one great thing about the motorcycle. I have really learned to be present. Because if you're not, you're probably dead. Seriously. You have to be fully there all the time. And think for others because they don't see you.
Because they don't.
Question your beliefs and assumptions without judgment. So really, ask, where is this coming from for me? Am I just operating off a bias? Question yourself, not others. Question why you don't like somebody. Question why you like somebody. Be real with who you are and understand yourself. It's sort of like Michael Singer, The Untethered Soul, you know, stand back and pay witness to who you are. That's the path to a great life. And finally, experience reality. Come to your senses. Use your senses. But don't rely on them wholly because there's a truth within inside you. I think we have a song before meditation. Is that right?
Sorry, I'm writing songs here.
Okay.
I read Michael Singer's books, but I didn't get that part, so I need to write it down because that's a song. All right.
Take it away, Anthony. Thank you.
So if you don't know this one, we're going to do I Am Enough. So the chorus is I am enough, I am enough, I am enough, just as I am. The first little chunk after that is, and there is nothing that I need to say, there is nothing that I need to change. And then when it comes again, it's there is nothing I need to do, there is nothing that I need to prove.
Just as I am, and there is nothing that I need to do. There is nothing that I need to prove. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Just as I am. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Just as I am.
Yes, thank you. And so I invite you to join me for a few moments of meditation and some silence. So allow yourself to bring your attention to your breath. Allow yourself to hear whatever your ears want to hear. And don't get stuck on what you hear. Just allow it to flow through you. Imagine you're looking out a window and each thought or idea is just driving by, like a car driving by. It's coming into your view, it's there, and then it's gone. You can stay with your breath, feeling it move in, letting it go. I invite you to take one hand and just gently place it on your belly, right around the solar plexus. Just give a gentle nudge there, sort of waking up that presence within you. And with your breath, breathe through your nose into your belly region, feeling your belly rise and fall with each breath. As you continue this, bring into your thoughts, I am. Some I ams. I am light. I am the presence. Am one with all that is. I am the joyful nature of children playing. I am the vibration of love and appreciation. I invite you to take that into a few minutes of silence, and I'll let you know when it's time to come back. as you prepare to bring your awareness back, place one hand on your heart space. And know to yourself, I am the frequency and vibration of love moving through me, in me, around me, and as me. And so it is. And as you're ready, you can open your eyes.